G'day folks, I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on the Nigata diesel generator. Chinese Yanmar L48 clone, I think the engine is. It's definitely a Yanmar clone. Pretty sure it's the L48 because that's the starter motor I ordered for it. Yeah, it's not a bad little unit. I just did the valve lash and they were definitely tight, like really tight. So they're out to 0.15 millimeters now. I think it's 0.0060 inches or 0.006 inches or something like that. It's actually, there's a manual online. If you look up the L series, I think it's an L series, L48 manual, there's a heap of information on them, so I've done that. It's really clean up the top, so it's not all carboned up. This thing hasn't done a ton of work. Like, someone would have bought it, used it for a specific job and just shelved it after it stopped starting. Like, the starter motor just packed it in and they probably couldn't find another one. They didn't realise it was a Yanmar clone, and I tried looking for this model alone just never showed up, and similar ones had similar engines and engines that looked the same, and I wasn't willing to take the chance, but I found out this is a direct copy of a Yanmar engine, so I was able to find one. Yeah, and I also worked on the electrical panel. It's got two sets of outlets. It had two big 20 amp plugs on it, like round push and twist plugs on it. So instead I put 4 10s on it. It's still only rated to 18.5 amps with a 20 amp breaker that I've also replaced. Everything else was saturated in oil and diesel on the old one, so I've fully reworked it. I've moved the low oil indicator lamp over there, whereas before it was sort of here. I had to cut all that out. I'm going to put a new rotary switch in there for start stop. Most of its original functions will be restored. I just got to move some things around. But yeah, that's all good. It's all nicely wired up, heavy duty cabling. Yeah. Under this box, I took this off and there's a potted module with a lot of semiconductors and stuff sticking out of epoxy resin and a large DC capacitor. So that must be the exciter and everything for the alternator. It's not a regular capacitor run type alternator, or at least not partially. It might be, the cap might be for partially exciting it, but it's just not the same as the other ones. Everything else seems right. Just wheel it outside and give it a good degrease and hose all the diesel and oil out of the base. Probably after giving it an oil change. Apparently these just use what is it, 1030, SAE 1030. That's about it. So yeah, I've got a bottle of good SAE 1030 engine oil. I'll use that. Give it an oil change. I'm just trying to find some exhaust gaskets. I'm going to go to the exhaust place and see if I can get something to replace these. That was just a temporary measure. That's not even exhaust gasket. That was just to get the thing working and see if it worked. So I'm going to go to the exhaust place and see if they have something similar, like maybe from a 3-cylinder Daihatsu or something that I can just cut up into segments. A manifold gasket. Whatever fits. So yeah, I'm going to go down to the local exhaust shop and see what they've got. But yeah, overall this thing's in pretty good condition. And it'll work again. It's 220 volts, or 230 volt single phase, not 240. So hopefully UPS won't mind, because I want to run this through a pure sine wave UPS. Just like I did the Lombardi power light generator. That ran fine, like the Powerware UPS ran fine off that. I want to see if a UPS will run off this. If it does, well, I'll install it in the hutch outside. That way at least I can have raw power for lighting and basic stuff, and then filtered pure sine wave power for my PCs and things if the power goes down. Because this thing, 20 amps is heaps for just running basic stuff. I wouldn't be able to run a big air conditioner or do any experiments, but at least this place would be lit up like a Christmas tree while the whole neighbourhood's out. Not that the neighbourhood goes out that often, it's just inconvenient when it does. So yeah, that's what's up with this one. I'm going to put some Insta gasket on this thing. I'm not going to bother trying to find a replacement gasket. Glue the damn thing back on again, and yeah, I'll give it an oil change. I'll probably run it first, stir up all the muck in the bottom of the crankcase, and then dump the oil, so that'll be another day when I get the exhaust back on. This thing's wickedly loud without it, as are pretty much any diesels. And again, I'll strip all the foam and crap out of the housing, try and stop it from cooking itself, cut big holes in the front and back of it. I'm not sure how well the fans will hold up to vibration. An automotive fan would be the best, but it probably pulls too many amps for the poor little 12 volt charging circuit that's on it. It's only rated at 8.3 amps at the most, so I think I'd probably murder the alternator trying to run a automotive fan like one of them. I'd have to get a really low powered fan, like 2 or 3 amps at the most, and still have enough amps to recharge the battery. So yeah, it's a work in progress. If I don't do it now, it'll just sit under the carport for another 6 or 8 months and I won't touch it again. So yeah, before I move it, I've sworn that I'll at least finish it internally and get all that working. Otherwise it's just going to sit and gather dust until the power goes out again and I realise I haven't finished it. And then I'll move this in, strip all the bulky bits off it and just wrap it up on a pallet, wrap it in stretch wrap or something and stick it under the carport. Pallet on wheels again. I mean, that can go to storage, the Nissan Datsun engine. So yeah, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.